Hey everybody, welcome back to TGB Insider. Boy, are we behind on these again. Yeah, I have to apologize. I really got caught up in the Resi 3 video. Production on that one was pretty long and arduous, I gotta say. I had to beat the game multiple times to do all the different choices. There's so much RNG and different outcomes you can get in Resi 3 that I really had to keep going over the video again and again, fact-checking things and making sure that I wasn't messing anything up. And I don't know, there might be some inaccuracies in there. I hope there isn't. I hope I managed to get the video out and say something interesting about the game design, give you a little bit of insight on how that game is put together. But unfortunately, it did take a long time, so I only managed to get the Kingdom Hearts video out last month, Kingdom Hearts 2, which was intended to be like a little short video to just pump out. But I say that, and they never are. I always put too much work into them, even when they're intended to be filler videos. After I did the Kingdom Hearts 2 video, I did spend a few days, actually, a bit cheekily, just playing more Kingdom Hearts 2, because it's the first time I played the PS4 version, which is the 1080p 60 FPS edition, and I've always loved Kingdom Hearts 2. I've always loved the gameplay. Playing it at 60 frames per second for the first time it's a religious experience. It's so smooth and buttery, and the game is so much fun. I couldn't put it down, but I did record what I played, so if we ever get to that Kingdom Hearts goal, to talk about all the Kingdom Hearts games a little more in depth, then it won't have been wasted time, me spending those days cheekily playing more Kingdom Hearts 2. But hey, I made up for it by getting right into Resident Evil 3, which, you know, Road to the Rocket Launcher. Pretty much the most complex stuff on the channel, so a lot of hard work, and the response to the video has been really good. Everyone seems to really enjoy it, so I'm happy, you're happy, what can I say? Me going so in-depth into Resident Evil 3 over the past month means I haven't been playing a lot of games in my own time. I did play some Dragon Ball Z Fighters when that came out. Remember that game? I had a bit of fun playing it, but I really just don't have time to get into it and learn all the moves and, you know, really get good at the minutiae of the game. And if I can't get good at the minutiae of the game, I don't really have anything that constructive to say about it, unfortunately. A lot of fun, love the visuals, really fast-paced, but you know, what can I say? I have, though, been playing off and on again Super Mario Odyssey, which I do have quite a bit to say about. I don't think it's the kind of thing I'd make a video on. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. Really, really fun in terms of the first playthrough up till the final boss, up to the first time you see the credits. I think it's like 120 power moons you have to collect to get it. 100 and something. There's like 800 in the game, so it's not a whole lot. But that process of starting the game, getting to that final boss, really great. Some of the most fun I've had playing a Mario game in ages. A lot of that has to do with the depth of Mario's movement in this game. It really feels like they've brought it back a bit to the Sunshine Mario 64 playability of those games, where you had a lot of moves to play with and to combine together to traverse the environment. So now you have the hat move, and you can jump on the hat and sort of keep bouncing and diving around. And, you know, like, you jump, you butt slam, then you do a higher jump off the ground when you butt slam, you go higher, you bounce off walls, you dive. There's a lot of mess around with in here. And so it's one of those games that I just enjoy, you know, just playing for 5 minutes and messing around with Mario jumping about. The process of getting those first 100 moons, whatever, is so much fun, because the levels, they basically have one big main objective, which is to get to the other side of the level and beat the boss. And that's probably the most, like, structured, designed content in the game, where, you know, that's supposed to be the highlight of the experience, you completing these big sort of event story challenges within each level. But then to get to the next level, you need a certain amount of moons, and you'll get most of those moons just doing the level, doing the main content of the level, but you'll probably need a few extra moons. So while you're doing the level, or after you've done the main objective, you can hunt around for little extra moons. And one thing that, you know, always seemed kind of disappointing in previous 3D Mario games is that games like Mario Galaxy, they'd have like little Easter egg challenges hidden in the level. You know, you'd go off the path for a little bit and do something that's, you know, maybe a little harder to do than what's on the main path, and you'd get like a life, like a 1-up, and it would feel like just a bit of a waste of time, really. But here you deviate from the path, notice something in the environment that's kind of hidden, or you do a little challenge and you get a moon, you get something substantial. In that sense, it feels like when you do the level, when you're there for the first time, you complete the level, and the more you as a player, the more skilled you are to navigate the environment as you're doing the level, will reward you with more moons and quicker access to the next level. So it works really well in that sense. The point where it gets kind of not so great is once you have beaten the final boss and you get to the post game, where the game then becomes about just getting all the moons. And there's a lot of moons, and they're hidden everywhere. You get them for the most mundane little tasks, which felt pretty rewarding back before you beat the game, and you get them for completing larger tasks like, you know, beating secret challenge courses and so on. The problem is, though, it just gets so tedious at this point, because there's so many moons, and every time you get a moon, it feels like you're making no progress. It's just this big wall of moons that you're chipping away at, and there's just no end to it. It's sort of weirdly demoralizing. You know, you pick up the game, because it's just so fun to play around with, and you get some moons. I always put the controller down, kind of like annoyed and sort of like, I didn't get anything done doing that, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, the post-game content isn't like incredible either. A lot of it's repeated content, and I know like the Mario Galaxies had, you know, like extra stars you'd collect by doing like harder versions of levels or stuff, or collecting coins in older levels. But here it really does feel like the content is being stretched a bit to allow for this ludicrous amount of moons. And a lot of the challenge rooms and courses you get to do, they don't feel as substantial as, say, a Mario Galaxy level. Or even like the hidden segments in Mario Sunshine where you jump into just a bunch of floating blocks in midair. There's a lot of those floating blocks in midair stages hidden in Odyssey, but they're very short and they're not very substantial. I did manage to get 500 moons, which is what unlocks the super duper ultimate final hard super level at the end. I mean, I don't actually know. Maybe there's another one for getting like all the moons. I don't actually know. But there's so much whiplash because you spend the post game going around doing the most mundane, simple tasks, getting moons. Like you collect some seeds and throw them in a pot and you get a moon, or you're just wandering around and look, there's a moon. And then you unlock this post-game level, and it's like the hardest shit in the entire game, where you have to do this super duper long obstacle course with some of the hardest challenges in the title all in a row without checkpoints. And I don't know, something just seems a bit off about that. But as I said, in terms of like the main experience, beginning the game, final boss, those first 100 moons, really, really fun time. It was a really nice combo of the sort of contextualized environments from like Super Mario Sunshine with like a community of people living there, community of creatures, sort of landmarks. Like it felt like you were going to actual places, but that was combined with the tight level design that we would later see in say a Galaxy game or a Mario 3D World game. I don't think they went as far with the context as they could have gone. I mean, I say they feel like real places. That's kind of relative to, say, Galaxy or Mario 3D World. They are just kind of like floating plains in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of people on them who you can talk to. They don't really feel as tangible as the levels in Sunshine did, but I still feel like it's a step in the right direction. I don't think it sacrificed the playability to include these areas to explore, to add a bit of personality back into the Super Mario games. So yeah, I definitely recommend the game for that first like 10-15 hours, but I don't know if I'd recommend doing the post stuff. I'd say maybe call it quits after that. I've also been playing Bayonetta 2 on the Switch, so it's just nice to have that game at a tiny bit higher frame rate than it was on the Wii U. Shame we probably will never get a PC port of it, because Bayonetta 1 looks so good at 1080. I think you can go to 4K Bayonetta on PC. Maybe the next generation will get to see Bayonetta 2 running at 1080p or higher, because it really deserves to. But yeah, phenomenally fun game. Really enjoying the replay. Just great time. And that's really all I've been playing. You know, it's hard to get in leisure time for video games when you're spending so much of your time playing a video game for something like the Resident Evil 3 video, because you're just so like, you know, you need a break, you know, and I've got other things I want to do with my time, not just play video games for videos and then play video games for leisure time. There's other things I like doing. So I don't really know what else to talk about, really. I guess we could... There was a Nintendo Direct the other day. Oh, God. I know. You're probably sick of having people react to Nintendo marketing in your frickin' YouTube videos. But, there's not really much else news-wise to talk about. So, I guess I'll react to some of these announcements. I'm scrolling through. There's not a whole lot that... Not really a whole lot that interests me. Luigi's Mansion's getting a port for 3DS, not for Switch, which is kind of interesting. I guess it'd be slightly easier to do it for 3DS. You wouldn't have to HDify the game. Okami's getting another port on Switch, which is great. Good to see another Kamiya game get another release on another system, so more people get to enjoy it. But you know, I feel like we've given Okami its dues at this point. You know, that was one of those underrated games that didn't sell as well as it deserved to, but now it's been ported to loads of systems. So how about we give the other Clover games some time in the sun again? You know, Beautiful Joe, God Hand. How about we re-release those, huh? You know, we've done it, okay? Okami's out there. People can get Okami. People have played Okami. Let's do some of the other ones. So there was more footage for the Travis Strikes Again game, the new No More Heroes title, which we've already talked about quite a bit on a previous Insider. I don't really want to discuss it too much at this point, from this point onwards, because I kind of want to talk about this game and Grasshopper Studios, Grasshopper Manufacture, I think, in like its own dedicated video. I want to sort of talk about the studio and what's happening with this game a little more in depth. So I'm just going to leave my opinion in my pocket for now. It's going to be interesting to see how this one turns out. I'll just say that I'm not overwhelmed with enthusiasm quite yet, but there'll be stuff to talk about later down the line. So stay tuned. It's just not really my none of this stuff's really my cup of tea. I guess I should give ARMS a try. ARMS looks kind of cool. I could give that a go. So yeah, I'm afraid that's all I've really got for you. At the moment, I've kind of just been dedicating myself to Resi 3. In the coming month, I'm going to try and release a bunch of shorter videos before jumping into the next big project. So that will be cool. I also want to get a few more Let's Plays out to you guys on the Patreon. I really enjoyed doing that little Genji thing we did, and I hope I can do some more on some other PS2 games that maybe I haven't gotten to yet. So I really am looking forward to that. I hope we can get those going, because if they can get more attention on here, then it would be a great excuse for me to play some games I haven't gotten to yet and give you guys some more content as a thank you for backing. We're steadily rising on the Patreon, and you know, I can't thank you guys enough for backing and for supporting this stuff. You know, when you're making Resi 3, when it's been weeks since the last video, and you're just like, you know, it really gets you down. You're like, I haven't released any content, and the stats on the channel start to dwindle. Oh no, the retention isn't there. You know, it's great to know that I've got you guys who are just like, none of that stuff matters. You guys are backing, and the thing you guys care about the most is just that I make a really great video. And it doesn't matter how many views it gets on YouTube, or like, you know, how much the YouTube algorithm pushes people towards my videos. I got you guys backing me up, so I can create great content. Can't thank you guys enough. Sorry for the short Insider. I'm going to spend the month doing some shorter vids and playing some games, so that next time I've got something more to talk about. So, peace out, everybody.